Good afternoon, everyone. Now that we've all been well fed, now we're going to be well informed over the next hour and a half or so. But I wanted to introduce our speaker and then give her as much time as we can give her. Monica Luker serves as a leader at Hope Harbor, where she is deeply committed to supporting victims and survivors of domestic violence and strengthening community awareness. With a strong background in community outreach, fundraising, and strategic planning, Monica is passionate about building partnerships that create lasting impact and ensure critical services remain accessible to those in need. She plays an active role in event planning, donor engagement, and public advocacy efforts that advance Hope Harbor's mission. As a survivor of domestic violence herself, Monica is especially passionate about prevention education, empowering victims, and fostering collaboration among community leaders, law enforcement, and local organizations. Beyond her professional work, Monica is a devoted wife to husband Andy and a proud mother to her son Noah. She has a heart for serving others and a personal journey marked by resilience and healing that fuels her compassion for the victims and families that she serves. In her free time, she enjoys time with her family, caring for their many fur babies, and investing in personal growth and wellness. And so, Monica, I invite you up. The floor is yours.
Lunch was delicious. Thank you all so much for the hands that prepared it. Thank you for inviting me here today to speak with you. I'm very passionate about the work that Hope Harbor does, so I will have my moments where I will try to keep it together. What I hope that you learn by the end of this, though, today is that I may not be able to rescue someone from domestic violence, but I can recognize it, respond compassionately, and connect that person with someone who can help. Hope Harbor is a lifeline for victims of domestic violence, and we have been in business for 47 years. My name is Monica Luker, and I'm the Resource Development and Marketing Manager. I want to let you know how much I appreciate having your church that's willing to have the conversation and be a part of this End It Now day. Domestic violence thrives in silence. It thrives when people are afraid to ask questions, when victims believe no one will understand, and when communities simply won't know what to do. Today isn't about making everyone in this room an expert on domestic violence. It's about helping you recognize it, helping you understand it, respond safely and compassionately, and know where help is available. I want you to remember one thing about our time together. There's hope, there's help, and no victim should have to walk through domestic violence alone. Before we talk about domestic violence, I want you to know who's standing beside victims in our community. Again, for 47 years, Hope Harbor has served as a lifeline for victims of domestic violence. We were established in 1979, and today we continue that mission by serving individuals and families throughout our region, including Russell County. We're the only dual licensed agency that serves both Georgia and Alabama. Our work is not simply about providing a bed. Our goal is to meet victims where they are in their journey and help them move forward to safety, stability, independence, and hope. We provide emergency shelter, a 24/7 crisis hotline, safety planning, case management, legal advocacy, assistance navigating temporary protective orders and protective from abuse orders is what they're referred to here in Alabama, outreach services, rapid rehousing assistance, children's services, support groups, counseling referrals, community education and prevention, and referrals to additional community resources. Our emergency shelter has 43 beds and serves individuals and families who need a safe place to escape domestic violence. Our services are provided at no cost to victims. A person does not have to enter our shelter in order to receive help. Sometimes the first thing someone needs is to simply stay is simply a safe person on the other end of the phone saying, I believe you. Let's talk about what you need. What is domestic violence? Domestic violence is not simply an argument between two people. It is a pattern of behaviors used by one person to gain and maintain power and control. You'll hear me refer to that a lot, power and control, over another person or an intimate or family relationship. Physical violence may be part of that pattern, but domestic violence can exist long before someone is ever physically assaulted. Abuse can include physical abuse, things like hitting, slapping, punching, choking or strangulation, pushing, restraining, using or threatening weapons, and preventing someone from receiving medical care. Emotional and psychological abuse, constant criticism, this is the narcissism we were speaking of, humiliation, name calling, threats, intimidation, gaslighting, making someone question their own memory or reality. I have a crazy story. We had a victim that was with her abuser for over 20 years. She did not like the color red. It was her least favorite color. She came home one day from work and her kitchen was painted red. And her abuser made her feel like she had lost her mind. He said, this kitchen's been red since we've lived here. And she had been subjected to so much emotional abuse that she fell for his gaslighting and saying that it had been painted red the entire time. It wasn't until she got help that she realized that the gaslighting was part of what she had experienced with her abuse. Financial abuse, and this is a key. A lot of people don't realize that financial abuse is a thing. 99% of cases of domestic violence include financial abuse, 99%. This is controlling all household money, preventing someone from working, taking someone's paycheck, destroying credit, creating debt in another person's name, requiring someone to account for every dollar spent. We had a victim that her husband gave her $20 a week to grocery shop. Now, this was a few years back. This is not in today's world. But $20 to buy a week's worth of groceries, and she was expected to bring back a receipt and any change to the penny that he had given her. Sexual abuse, forced or coerced sexual activity, ignoring someone's right to consent, and reproductive coercion. You'll see many times our victims will have multiple kids. And when I say multiple, I mean 6 to 8 to sometimes 12 and 13. This is a form of abuse because this makes the abuser the abused victim has to become more dependent on that person. And so it makes it that much more harder for them to leave. Plus they feel now having this many children that they would never be able to escape and have a place. And I can honestly tell you that it does not matter how many children that you have, even if our shelter is full, if a victim needs safe, secure housing, we will get that for them, 100%. Digital and technological abuse. Now, this one is interesting. This is something that more and more students in high school and middle school are becoming subjected to. One of the horrendous statistics, and there's several that I'll share with you. Teen dating violence is the most prevalent form of violence that our kids are being subjected to right now. And unfortunately, in Muskogee County, the very county where our Hope Harbor is located, there are more documented related acts of violence through teen dating violence than any other form of violence. And we rank #1 in the entire state of Georgia in Muskogee County. And that factual information came directly from the Department of Juvenile Justice that works directly with those victims and refers them to our services. So digital and technological abuse, tracking someone's location, monitoring their cell phone, demanding passwords, reading texts or emails, using cameras or smart devices to monitor someone, harassing or threatening someone through social media. AI is a big thing now, and unfortunately, teenage boys are being targeted between the ages of 14 and 16 years of age. It takes 3 seconds of hearing someone's voice that you can make through AI databases that person say and appear on camera to say anything they want to say. There have been more teenage boys that have been forced to commit suicide because of these acts of bullying through AI. So one of the things that we do at Hope Harbor is we try to get more and more involved in schools. If it were up to me, I would be in elementary schools if they would allow me. Right now, we're in middle schools and we're in high schools, but we're talking to these students about the dangers and the demands that people are having put on them through social media and AI and things. And so we're educating these kids that you have a choice and you don't have to be bullied, and there's help and support for you. Isolation, separating someone from family, preventing friendships, controlling transportation, preventing church attendance, making the victim increasingly dependent on the abuser. And the final one is spiritual abuse, using scripture or religious teachings to control someone, telling a victim that leaving an abusive situation is sinful, using forgiveness as a reason a victim should tolerate continued abuse, using someone's faith to shame, frighten, and manipulate them. Faith, as a bottom line, should never become a weapon of control. Domestic violence doesn't discriminate. One misconception we all have is that to eliminate the idea that we know what a victim of domestic violence looks like. We don't. We have no clue what domestic violence looks like because it can happen to men, women, children, teenagers, young adults, older adults, people of every race and culture, people at every income level. People with advanced degrees, people with very little education, people who live in poverty, people who live in beautiful homes, people sitting beside us at work, people sitting beside us at church. Someone can appear successful, happy, and completely put together while privately living in fear. That is why compassion matters. So why doesn't the victim just leave? This is one of the most commonly asked questions. And this question, if you've ever been a victim of abuse, it is such an insulting question, and it should never be asked. But let me explain why victims don't just leave. This may be the most important question that we discuss. Instead of asking, why don't they just leave, we should ask, what is making it difficult or dangerous for them not to leave? And how can we help? There can be many, many barriers to reasons why a victim cannot successfully leave their abuser. Fear of being killed, for one. Threats against their children. Financial dependence. The feeling of nowhere safe to go. Lack of transportation. Isolation from family and friends. Fear of losing custody. Immigration concerns. Pets being threatened. Shame. Religious or cultural pressure. Hope that the abuser will change because he says or she says time and time again, I'm sorry, it will never happen again. Love for the person hurting them and fear that no one will believe them. Leaving an abusive relationship is not simply packing a suitcase and walking out the door. It may require careful safety planning. This is one of the reasons that organizations like ours at Hope Harbor exists. Now let's talk about recognizing the possible warning signs. Someone experiencing domestic violence may become increasingly isolated. So a lot of people ask me, what are some signs that your friends or your neighbors or your coworkers or your family will kind of hint at you to share that they're going through something traumatic? Frequently canceling their plans, seeming unusually anxious around their partner, constantly checking in with their partner, having unexplained injuries, offer explanations for injuries that don't seem consistent. They suddenly stop attending church or activities, have little or no access to their money. They have a partner who constantly calls and texts them. They need permission to go places. They become unusually quiet when their partner enters the room. That's a key one there. I know for me personally, when I was going through it at the hands of my narcissistic husband that I was married to for 9 years, I would be very quiet. And my parents even said after I finally left him and was able to do so successfully, they were like, we could tell anytime that he was around, you just acted like you weren't Monica. Changing clothing or appearance because of their partner's demands, and they might seem fearful or about upsetting their partner. One sign doesn't automatically mean someone is experiencing domestic violence, but patterns matter. What happens if someone tells you they're being abused? And this is where I come in, where I'm talking to you guys about what you can do if you hear or learn that someone near, close to you is going through something. Imagine someone comes to you after the church and quietly says, "Can I tell you something? Things aren't good at home." Your response matters. Say, "I believe you. Thank you for trusting me. You don't deserve to be treated this way. I'm concerned about your safety. What would be helpful for you right now? There are people who can help you. Would you like for me to help you contact Hope Harbor?" Up here, I have lots of information that you guys are welcome to come and grab at any time. These books here are just journals that are also kind of double as an adult coloring book. So on the back of every page is a new color page. I've got information up here on healthy versus unhealthy relationships, lots of pamphlets and brochures. But this is the key here. This is our crisis hotline, and this is a discreet way. There's nothing on here indicating that this is Hope Harbor's phone number. So that if the abuser were to find this in a purse or laying on a countertop or wherever, there's nothing linking this number to anything with Hope Harbor. So this is the best way for you to be able to have our phone number and give this to friends and people, family that might need it. Things that you don't say. Why haven't you left? I would never put up with that. What did you do to make them angry? Are you sure it was really abuse? You need to go home and work on your marriage. You just need to forgive. Or you need to leave right now. Let's make you leave. Remember, support does not mean taking control away from the victim again. Again, power and control. Whenever possible, give them the information and options to allow them to make informed decisions about their own safety. A special message to the church. The church can be one of the first places that a victim turns for help. That makes your responsibility and your response incredibly important. A church does not have to become a domestic violence agency. You already have professionals in your community that do this work. What the church can become is a safe doorway to those services. Speak openly like we are today about domestic violence. Display Hope Harbor information in visible and private locations, so you are welcome to keep all of this stuff from me today. Keep crisis information in women and men's restrooms. Train church leaders and volunteers. Teach healthy relationships to young people. Know how to respond to disclosures. Develop relationships with local victim service agencies. Avoid confronting an alleged abuser on behalf of a victim without professional guidance. Protect confidentiality. Encourage victims to develop a professional safety plan. Reinforce that abuse is never justified by Scripture. Remind victims that asking for help is not a failure of faith. Sometimes ministry means knowing when someone needs a pastor, and sometimes ministry means knowing when someone needs a domestic violence advocate. The two can work together. Children are victims too. Domestic violence does not only affect the two adults involved. Children who witness violence in the home can experience fear, anxiety, confusion, and instability. Another statistic that I absolutely despise. Over 15 million children a year, every single year, over 15 million children are exposed to domestic violence. They worry about whether mom and dad or a sibling or they themselves will be safe. They may hear the screaming, they may see the injuries, they may come to try to intervene. Children may carry those experiences into schools, friendships, and eventually into their own relationships. That is why prevention and these conversations right here matter. When we teach young kids, young people, what healthy relationships look like, we're not simply talking about dating. We're helping shape what they will recognize as acceptable or unacceptable for the rest of their lives. Healthy love versus unhealthy control. Healthy love says, I respect you. I trust you. You are allowed to disagree with me. You are allowed to have your own friends. You are allowed to have your own privacy. You are allowed to tell me no. We make decisions together. Abuse says, if you loved me, you would. Give me your password. Who were you just talking to? You don't need those friends. You can't go there without me. Look at what you made me do. No one else will ever want you. Those things are not demonstrations of love. Love does not require fear. I'm going to say that again. For those in the back, love does not require fear. What can I do if I suspect someone is being abused? You don't have to investigate. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to rescue them. You can simply open the door. Try this. I've noticed you haven't seemed like yourself lately, and I care about you. Is everything okay at home? If they say no, okay, I just want you to know that if you ever need someone to listen, I'm here for you. You have planted a seed by doing this. They know that someone noticed. They know that someone cares. And they know where they can turn to when they're ready. What Hope Harbor wants every victim to know. If there is someone in this room who is experiencing abuse, or someone listening today who recognizes their own relationship in what we discussed, I want you to hear this. You deserve to be safe. You don't have to have everything figured out before you call us. You don't have to be ready to leave. You don't have to know what tomorrow is going to look like. You can simply begin with a conversation. Hope Harbor will meet you where you are. The power of partnership. Hope Harbor cannot end domestic violence alone. Law enforcement cannot do it. Churches cannot do it alone. Schools cannot do it alone. Hospitals cannot do it alone. But together, we can create a community where victims know exactly where they can turn. For 47 years, Hope Harbor has been answering that call. But our greatest hope isn't simply that victims find us. It is that people throughout our community know enough about domestic violence to recognize when someone needs us. I'm going to repeat that sentence again. Our greatest hope isn't to simply have victims find us. It's that people throughout our community know enough about domestic violence to recognize when someone needs us. That includes you. In my closing, and I'm going to leave lots of time for questions and concerns and anything that you would like to address, but I'd like for you to recognize, respond, and refer. Those three words. So recognize, learn the warning signs. Respond, believe victims, listen without judgment, and prioritize safety. Refer, know your community resources, that is Hope Harbor, and connect victims with trained individuals. You don't have to know all the answers. Sometimes changing someone's life begins simply by saying, I believe you. You deserve to be safe. There is help, and let me connect you with Hope Harbor. Hope Harbor has been a lifeline for victims of domestic violence, and with compassionate, informed community partners like this church standing with us, we can make sure that that lifeline reaches even farther. Where there is help, there is hope. And where there is hope, lives change. Thank you for being a part of this hope with me. Thank you. I have some questions that I'd have for you all, if you don't mind me asking, and you can do it by a show of hands. Before today, what came to mind when you heard the words domestic violence? Yes, ma'am.
So my personal experience is what brought me here today. And I said, I appreciate you bringing your compassion to your presentation because I started tearing up again, even though I'm not in the situation now and it's far gone years ago. It's just kind of like I've never talked about it until now again. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your story. Thank you for your bravery. I'm proud of you for getting out of that situation and living to tell your story.
When you said domestic violence, I thought about dysfunctional homes and dysfunctional relationships, you know, and in this day and age, I think that's one thing that, you know, we have a hard time learning how to have healthy relationships. So, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Before I knew it was domestic violence, the word disrespect.
Yes.
That's all I knew is you're disrespectful. That's what I was
Yes.
told. You know, so
Absolutely.
thank you for letting me share that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I am a domestic violence victim. And everything that you said that people ask me, while you're still there, a police officer actually asked me that. And those questions that you said, they asked, why are you there? Then I had people to ask, are you crazy? You know, and they just try to say stuff to bring your spirit down when you're in that situation, not realizing how it impacts you. And so, you know, people know what
Mm-hmm.
they tend to judge it based on more so helping you or asking, what do you need? How do you need me to show up? So it's like you can't really trust people with your business because it's like the judging come in, and then like you say, you were married for 9 years, and this is my second marriage, and I was in my first marriage for 15 years. And it was like around the 11th to the 13th year where stuff was just going haywire. And they like, I can't believe it. She's been with him that long. Nothing's really happening, you know, because for so long, it's like you come and you just, you know, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But if people is in tune to your pattern, because that's why I watch people's patterns, they behavior,
Yes.
and I listen to what people say, and so I take red flags and I call them danger spotting and danger words. It's really, really important when you are a victim to, you to know that someone connected and heard what you said.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the thing, because it's not a person that's dressed up, it's not a look, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because people wear masks and they hide behind it. And for so long, believe it or not, my first husband, he was a minister, and because of his relationship with the pastor, when I went to the pastor and told the pastor, he didn't really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's like, because you're quiet, and I'm like, okay, I'm telling you what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but if you just really, you know what I'm saying, be in tune to what I'm saying, you're gonna know what I'm saying. I'm not making it up.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that's important.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, and I'm proud of you as well for getting out. Yeah, I was going to say it takes an average victim 7 to 9 times before they're able to successfully leave their abuser. And with Hope Harbor, it doesn't matter if you've called us twice before or you're on your 12th call. We are going to take you in and give you the support and services that you need. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I like to add that domestic violence, if it's at home or wherever, violence, sometimes it can be verbal or physical, belittling, but it's also a part of mental illness. Unfortunately, in African American culture, there's a lot of mental illness. And if you, Indian, Black culture, whatever, you learn to live with it because that's the way you were brought up. And that is hard because when you have a veteran that has PTSD and needs someone to provide duty work to him or her, because women abuse as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you do but pray? You can pray, you can do your, serenity, you can do activities, but most importantly, you have to obey God. And God says what? Try to help to transform him with your love, your obedience, your example. Does he ask you to die, lay down your life for your brother? Well, that you may not want to go that far, and you want to put a period on it. But my brother's had 3 divorces. I told him that he didn't need to get married again, and now he's looking at a 4th. So I just want you to speak on that. What do you think about people who feel like they have a lock? They believe in one marriage and mental illness is rampant. Thank you.
The people are going to have their own beliefs and their own ways of thinking. A lot of it has to do with how they themselves were being brought up. Mental illness is a national concern. I mean, there's issues surrounding mental illness. It's a lot of the reason that we have the homelessness that we do. It's a lot of the reasons that we have the crime that we do. But when it comes to domestic violence, the power and control that a person feels they need to have in the relationship, if they have a mental illness on top of that, that's just only one more level of abuse they will be subjected to, is because that person is not mentally healthy. But domestic violence starts and ends with that person that feels they have the need to have that power and control. It's what you see in signs of psychopathic tendencies, people that kill and do things. It's all about that power and control. Did I answer your question for you?
I think that you're saying that, some of them are so mentally ill, they're psychopaths, and murder is real, and you have to make a decision on if you're going to, you have to make a decision on if you're going to stay or possibly die.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is. Yes, and just that's the thing is, I was a product. My biological father was very abusive to me. Part of the reason that I have a 6-year-old and I'm 46 years old is I was terrified that I was going to be an abusive mother to my child because that's all I had ever known. But the reality is I have the ability to change my behavior and to unlearn those patterns. So I've taken myself personally through numerous amounts of training and counseling and trauma care and things just to ensure that I don't repeat history and that I break that yes, thank you, that cycle of going forward. And so even if someone has a mental illness, there's help for them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other outlets, just like someone that knows that they're an abuser and they want to stop and they truly care enough about their significant other to stop that behavior. There's help and assistance for them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want people to think that just because I have an addiction or I have mental illness, that is a crutch, that is a reason that I'm justifying my actions, because that can be stopped. There's help for you. And so that's what I wanted to just kind of, I guess, further explain is it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have a mental illness or whatever, that's okay, that is acceptable behavior. And the victim needs to understand that too, that it's not acceptable no matter what that person's going through.
Again, it's culture.
Yes.
You know, and of course, with the African American culture, a lot of women are very much abused and they die in their
Yes.
relationships. Unfortunately, when you have a mentally ill person, how do you leave them when you know that there's no one else? Their mother or their brothers or their whole family is, and they have no one else. And so, and they don't even realize the extent of it.
Right. The thing is that when a victim decides to leave, that is definitely the scariest, most dangerous time for a victim. That is how more victims are killed, is during the time that they've decided, this is it, I've had enough, I'm leaving. Because the person will stalk and they will find, and you have to literally uproot your entire life basically to get away from this person. But I feel like with those victims that have someone that they're dealing with the mental illness side, there comes a time where you have to stop thinking and caring about their concern because they've not had that concern for you. Otherwise, they would not be treating you the way that they are. So if someone comes to me and says, I can't leave him because, or I can't leave her because they might kill themselves. My response to that is, so you're going to stay in this and pray that they don't kill you first? I mean, that's the reality. And so you have to, at some point, you have to think about your own self and your own safety, because you're worth it.
One thing I wanted to say is that I really appreciate you also talking about the other forms of abuse, because a lot of times when we think about abuse, we think more about the physical abuse or, just verbal abuse, but there are other kinds of abuse like the financial abuse. And I know that was, one that sometimes we experience, but we never really think about, when people are putting you in debt on, intentionally so
Yes.
that you can't get away from them because you have so much debt piled up, or, causing the woman or, forcing more births, to happen. And, many, and even the psychological warfare when someone is trying to make you doubt your reality or even doubt who you are. They're trying to change the picture that you have of yourself to something else so that they can keep you under fear and control.
Yes.
And I think that is so important because there is definitely a huge psychological side behind abuse. And I think it's even important for our young people to learn about characters and narcissistic patterns and tendencies that people have, because even when they're in school, they can come across these characteristics and these patterns through their friendships at school,
Absolutely.
and I've had to talk to my kids, like if someone is telling you that you're not worthy to be their friend unless you do X, Y, and Z, that's a huge red flag.
Yes.
You need to learn these patterns in order to, avoid these kinds of people, forming relationships with these kinds of people. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that is very important. So I just appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate you mentioning that because, scars, bruises heal. And for me personally, I have to take a depression pill every single day. I'm reminded of the abuse that I was subjected to, because if I don't take it, he's right back here on my shoulder telling me all the things that I'm not and couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't be able to do. And so yeah, the psychological and the emotional abuse is, in my opinion, far worse than the physical, because bruises can heal. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to piggyback off her what she was asking, you went back into saying like the mental health was real as far as like coming up as a child, right? Okay, so I experienced that from my mother, because she used to whip us with switches, make us pick out our own switch, ironing cord, whatever. She get her hands on you getting beat with it, and she will whoop you till she get tired. So that was a form of abuse. But I found out, because I went through counseling as I got grown, that was not good behavior. You know what I'm saying? She learned that from the slave master getting beat, from how she was beaten, and she thought that's how you beat your children, and that's not how you do. So mental health was real back then in the 1950s on down, but they never ever acknowledged it as that. So moving forward, when you enter into that relationship where you say the man how he was mentally, and then is maybe drugs, and then it build as well. This is what I learned. No matter what a person do to you, if they have to go to court, say like somebody killed somebody, they was under the influence of drugs. If that person go to court, they're sober because they're in jail during that time to go to court. That when they see that judge is going to deal with them according to their actions, what they did when they were under the influence. So they have to pay a price for that behavior, whether it was good or bad. And then moving forward from that, what I learned from going to counseling is you got to bring your self-worth, your self-love, and your self-care to the top and say, hey, I deserve better than what he's given me. And you cannot think about that abuser like, oh, he has no family, oh, he has no this, because I was in that situation too. And you do have all those thoughts like they make you feel that you're their only person. They make you feel that, you're their go-to, or they don't have anybody. But everybody has someone to lean on, and you have to focus on yourself first. Self-love first. Bring it to the top. You love yourself. Let that self-love rise to the top, and where others can see, hey, I'm not going to put up with this. And counseling helped me, along with going to church, along with knowing God. And it helps me to see a lot of things that, hey, I'm not going to put up with this. I deserve better, and I have to make a choice. Life is about a choice. So at some point, you have to get selfish when it comes to you and your life, because if you stay in it, a lot of people die out of it when you're dealing with people that have mental illness and drugs on top of it. It's like, because who is they listening to, God or the devil? So if they're listening to the devil, they're being controlled by the devil. And if you hearing God in some kind of way, God is going to make a way for your escape, but you got to be willing to know the signs and hear when he's telling you to go and get out of that when the help does come available. And say, because for my mom, she used to tear me down so bad and say, oh, you this, oh, you that. And what I did was I started examining the things that she used to say to me. Mom, I'm not that. You look this way. Every way she was saying that how I look, God started showing me she looked that way. So, and God was just letting me see the things that your abuser would say to you. You're not even nothing of that they say. So you have to start at some point weighing it out like, hey, calm down, pray, get to a quiet place and just evaluate it properly. And God is going to lead you out of that situation.
So I have a question for you, since we're talking a lot about like our upbringing. Are there statistics that you're aware of, those who are involved in domestic violence as adults? Are those patterns there, or it can just be anyone, even if that hasn't been a part of your background?
It can definitely go both ways. I mean, you don't have to be. I have my own beliefs on. Church and things. I believe in God, but the world is a really ugly place, And I find myself a lot having to, I question God, why, certain things happen and exist and do. And so when I read my Bible, I do it in the comfort of my home. And usually a glass of wine is involved. And I just choose to believe, and learn from my own teachings of reading.
That God's mercy, great is thy mercy towards me. And I just want to give my testimony to you, okay?
Yes.
I've been married since the 80s. I grew up with my husband. And we've been married a long time. It's 2026 now. We've been together for a long time. I've seen a lot of things. But to take you back a little bit, my dad and my mother, they had 5 children. My dad was retired military. And my mother obeyed my father. Okay? My grandparents on both sides, they obeyed each other. They grew up in the church and they were Baptists. Okay? When my husband joined the church, he was Church of Christ. They all believe in one marriage, but they don't all obey.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is, great is his mercy. If God's mercy is great, then when does it end? God's mercy never ends. And we can take a break. He says, if you can't the word says, if you can't get along, live apart. And that is what I believe. I'm barren. I don't have any children. I have a dog. But my husband's 75, and I am 68 years old.
You look amazing for your age, by the way. I would never have guessed that,
But I just want to share that with you because I think the Lord God is the most important thing in the world, the universe. And this too shall pass. Some days we have a wonderful time together.
Mm-hmm.
Other days I find out that he's been cheating on me with my friend.
Mm.
It's very sad, but he has a sex addiction. And I have to pray for him. And he's repented. He stopped drinking. He stopped doing drugs. So all I can say is I leave it up to God.
Yeah.
Will I die? Will he die? I don't know. But I tell him all the time, I take a living job. I come back home. So I don't know. 75 is pretty old, and 68 is too.
I appreciate you sharing your story with me. I'm really sorry for what you're going through with that. I hope that with his behavior outside of the walls of your home, that he is not being disrespectful to you sexually if he has an issue. Okay. I just take care of you. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to share, like, as a new mom and as a witness of domestic violence in my home, I just, as a mom, I realized that some things, they're not negotiable with my kids. Sometimes you can think like, oh no, that's just something of he was tired or he was stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized with my mom and my dad that some stuff, there are things that you have to say no for the well-being of your kids. And sometimes you say, no, but my kids deserve a dad. But at what cost? Your kids will grow up and they will grow up repeating the same pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is making this society so mess or so worse.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to realize that not any type of violence is not accepted. We just need to realize that. In this country, there are resources for single moms that are incredible. In my country, there are none, or there are no like this kind of like situation or support groups in hand. So it's like you need to realize that your self-esteem is very important.
Absolutely.
As our little sister here, she was saying that we need to realize how much value we have as men, as children, as women, but sometimes we forget. And that's what the devil wants us to believe, that we don't deserve a man who can treat us well, a nice environment in our houses, peace of mind that you can say, okay, I don't have the dinner ready, but that's okay, because my husband can help me
Yes.
when he come to home.
Yes.
But sometimes we realize, oh no, I need to have the dinner ready, because if not, he will get like mad and so and so. So we are a team, okay? And I don't not like pointing out on the dynamics of any family. No, it's okay to treat our husbands, and that's a nice way to take care of them too. But we're a team, and we need to learn how to be a team, because it's not all for my husband, it's not all for me. Just, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And with kids, you need to be like very jealous on that, because they will grow up and say, oh, my dad was like this, or my mom was like that. And what they will do, they will find a partner the same way their dad and their mom were. So we need to be very careful, because our kids are watching.
Yes.
We are their example,
Yes.
and they're sponges. Well, Daisy, she's just 2, and she is what's the word, like a mimic. He mimics everything, and teens also, and they will grow up and they will say, no, this girlfriend that I have, she's the best, but she's the best in which way? Or this boyfriend that I have, he's very overprotected because he loves me. No. We need to teach them, well, while they're young,
Absolutely.
what true love means.
Yes.
And the environment in church, well, churches can be defective too. So everything, society by itself. But we need to be on our knees and pray and ask for guidance. God will show us the way to teach our kids. Let's be with hang out in this type of workshops and stuff, and let's be very careful of how we raise our kids, because the pattern, they will repeat it. And I'm telling you, this is real, because my grandma suffered about the same thing as my mom is facing right now. So my mom is still with my dad, because she said, I don't want to live like all my life alone. I say, my mom, really? You're facing what my dad since what? They got together like when she was 19, I think, and she's like 56. And they're like still struggling. And my grandma, she's like 74, 75, and my grandpa, he's 80, and the same. So the pattern repeats by itself. So if we can take an idea of this opinion, is to not repeat the same pattern, because if not, the society will be the same again and again.
Yes.
I wanted to say, yes, I completely agree with my sister here. And, but I think it doesn't even just depend on ourselves not to repeat the pattern. Cause I know growing up, I saw all kinds of stuff and I said, you know what, I'm not doing that. And I don't want to be like this when I grow up. And sure enough, I ended up, I found myself in some of the same patterns and in the same things. But I really think from my own experience that is because I went my own way and I didn't go God's way. And so, if there are any young people in the room and you're listening, the Lord is the only one who knows the heart of a person. People can pretend stuff in front of you. They can be in church. They can, have this face when they're around people. And then when you get married to them, they turned into some kind of demon and everything else. Okay? Do not depend on your own understanding when it comes to people and when it comes to marriages and relationships. You need to pray. You need to fast. You need to seek the face of God and ask the Lord if that is the person that you should be with and if you should form that marriage alliance with them, because you really don't know. The devil can really fool you and deceive you. And also, I wanted to say, because I know sometimes we go through hard things and we question God, why are there children suffering and why are, people dying and why all this is happening. But just like how we know in human relationships that love cannot be forced, right? We serve a God that is love. The essence of him is love itself, and so God gives his intelligent creation two ways that they can go. They can go in the way of love, or they can go in the way of self and pride and evil. So God does not force anybody, anyone with a sound mind. He does not force anybody to do his will or go his way. We all have to choose which way we want to go. But when you find that you are ensnared by someone or entrapped, and being abused, if you cry out to the Lord and you tell the Lord that Lord, I am tired. I cannot live like this anymore. You will have to do something for me. I don't know what you're going to have to do, but I need you to deliver me from this. He will deliver you. He will deliver you because God is faithful. He will do it. And he will use that situation so that you can bless others. He did not intend for it to happen, but he will use it, Yeah.
I have a question for you. Probably everybody knows some marriages that are challenging that, probably got started on the wrong foot or something developed along the way. How important, what is the impact that friends and family can have in helping you make that decision about whether or not to marry someone or not? I know someone who was told by her fiance's mother, don't marry my son. By the future mother-in-law. And she went and married him, and it was very poor. And it involved fleeing to another state and all of these kinds of things. And so how important is it to have a good support system, and rely on and listen to, up to a certain point, to the people around you, your friends, the other person's friends, that kind of thing?
Yeah, your support system means as much to you, or should mean as much to you, as your own mental health does. That you love yourself enough to have the right people in your life that are going to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, in the way that you should be treated. And so I think that, people are always showing us their true colors. It's just a matter of whether or not we're going to believe it. And so, especially with dating and things in the world today, I mean, you're not going to find yourself in an abusive relationship on your first date. He's not going to sock you in the lip, or she's not going to, kick you out of the house on your first date. But if the person that knows the person that you're going to start a relationship with knows them better than, you obviously do, then listen would be my thing. Yeah. And care enough about yourself to follow what they're saying.
Okay. Yes, me. There's a song. It's called "Rescue." It's a Christian song, and it's "I will rescue you. I will send an army of angels to rescue you." Rescue you. Well, God gave me that song a few years ago. I didn't have support. Okay, I was raised up in church, and I ended up in an abusive situation with my husband, and call it rebellion, whatever. But you know what? I heard that all my life. Okay, regardless of what it is, I've heard it all my life. You're a bad girl. You should forget Okay, I did all that. It didn't work. I had to learn. God started showing me how He wanted me to do, not what the church says, but what He says. And what He told me was, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to be treated like that. You're my child. You're a daughter of the King, and you're loved. And I want you to see yourself like I see you, not how everybody else sees you, or not by what that man sees you. All right. And I had to learn that 40 years almost. I mean, just out there in drugs and abused by men. And then I got cold. I shut down and I got cold. You won't call me an aggressive abuser or whatever, but I defended myself that way because narcissists were all around. And then I decided that I had to fight for my life in the end. And just a few years ago, and please forgive me, God, but I really feel like I need to say it. I went home to my parents. All right. I needed to go home, but I told them I was going to be there. You know, this was one of them touchy situations. I knew what I wanted in my heart. I didn't want to be on the street with no man. I just didn't want to be there. And I was stronger, and I have the gift of resilience. God gave me that. Thank you, Lord. But I'm going to tell you, when I got to my parents' house, and, I was always asked when I was going to leave, But you know what? I did manipulate the situation a little bit, but God, in the end, I stayed there no matter what they said to me. No matter how much they down me, how much they put me down and told me I wasn't no good, I hadn't changed, that's why they left me, that's what, all this stuff. Well, guess what? I went to church with my pawpaw. I said, I got to do something, God. I was just mad at that time. Well, I'm going to say the enemy didn't like it. I went to church with my papa. The people at church loved me. They were my angels. They were the rescue God sent in to love me while I was not being loved. Okay? And I would go there, and I would just be numb, couldn't hear what they were saying because I was so much, my PTSD had kicked in over time. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and my papa was just like, you just got to be good. Don't say. He didn't mean no harm. That's just why he's 90-something years old. But the thing is, I'm a fighter. And I'm going to speak up. And I was doing it in a healthy ways, but it felt good. It felt, you don't talk to me like that, because God does say, do not provoke your children also, right up under, obey your parents. All right? And so, anyway, it was a lot of other stuff I don't want to discuss, but I was disrespected in a very bad way. It threw me for a loop, and I went to a mental shutdown. And I went back on meth. I got back on meth. I was shut down, but I was just numb. And then one of the ladies from the church came in, drove a car, and she's 80-something years old, loved me. She come in that yard and just drove it, and she said, get your sister out here, get Kim out here. And she said, Kim, what is wrong with you? You haven't been talking to me, I haven't heard from you. And so I started crying. And she was able to, she brought me back. She brought me back to God, because I don't always go to church. I love God. Nobody was around me when He rescued me, except for the church. I'm saying, God, I'm His. I was that lamb. He brought me back, and I fight every day for this, learning how to love myself the way God loves me in order to attract, if He wants me to have a husband. But I'm not going to tolerate, and they can't have no excuses no more. I have a good heart. I have a loving heart. It doesn't make me the enemy. It makes me a child of God. But you will not cross my boundaries, not no more. I know God, if He sends me one, it's going to be one that, it's just going to be mutual. It's going to be something, a team. It's not going to be, well, you got to do what I said. God said, no. I can do only so much where you beat me down, and I'm going to come up fighting. And then it's going to be disrespect. So I just rather God do it, and not myself. I got to get out of the way and let Him do it.
Yeah,
Thank you for letting me share.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Amen.
Any support groups for people, women, children who are facing domestic violence?
Absolutely. And I want to make sure that everybody here today gets my business card that's up here as well with the crisis hotline card. You email me and you let me know that you need to be involved in a support group. I don't need to know your story. You don't have to say anything else, but I will get your name added to that email list for you to be included.
So I have a question for you,
Yes.
and you may not want to answer it, and I certainly don't expect you to answer it in detail, but you are a survivor. How is it that you came out of the situation? Was it a friend who spoke to you? And and you can share what you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
And then also the ladies that you do meet, what is often the thing that, enables them to call, to reach out?
I'll kind of answer your question backwards. So, what victims have said is it's been about an opportunity that they realized that they needed to take at the moment that they took it. They couldn't wait another second, because if they did, he was going to enter the room, or she was going to, come home from work, or whatever the case is. And so they've realized when a victim gets to the point that they know that they need help in getting out, they've had enough self-talks to know when the time is right, they need to do it. Sometimes it's, unannounced, where it's, the person has shot a gun or injured something, injured an animal, and, authorities get involved. And then that's how Hope Harbor gets involved. It could be at the hospital when, they're being examined and it comes out that they've been sexually abused or things, and we get involved that way. So it's not always the perfect, story with a bow on it, that they, had this come to Jesus moment and they realize that they need to get the help, which is why it takes, like I said, an average of 7 to 9 times to successfully leave. Did that answer your question on that? Yeah, of course. My situation, the hands of my father was just, my mom got out. I eventually just told my mom that I could not any longer, when I had my, whatever the right was, I think it was 15, I could finally tell my mom I didn't want to go to my dad's anymore. And she never made me go back. So that was how I got rid of that. But then when I was with my husband for as long as I was, it had been 9 years of being in an RC. He never laid a hand on me, but he talked to me ugly. I had financial abuse. He really did a number on me, and we had been drinking one night. And the stuff that he told me and the names that he called me, I had just seen the escalation over all the years to where he finally brought this ugly demon out of himself and put on me. And I woke up the next morning and I told myself, I'm done. I have to physically, I cannot do this anymore. And I put myself in a safe house because the area I was living in, South Carolina at the time, didn't have a domestic violence shelter. But I told my boss at work what I was going through, and she made a phone call, and a local church put me in a house. It was called the Sunny House. I'll never forget, because it had a yellow door. And I was able to take my dog with me, and it was just me and my little pup. And that's how I was able to get out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
The gentleman talked about, asked the question about support in the family. And recently there was in the news, because mothers have a tremendous influence over their sons.
Yes.
On prom day, I don't know if anybody heard this story. Young man and his prom date, she was killed on the night of the prom. But when I say mothers have an influence over the sons, the mother was protecting and hiding the son and trying to convince him to leave the state, to hide from the police. So she was protecting. So now, in other words, she's also being charged,
For enabling the act to happen. Yes.
But you did also mention in the beginning that you're in the school system, but not yet, in the elementary level. You're
Correct.
in middle and high school.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a good thing.
Yes. And believe it or not, it's shocking that I even say this out loud, but there have been, they don't want us in the schools. The teachers and the faculty and the principals, they would rather just cover their ears and pretend like it's not an issue than to have us come in and talk about these difficult subjects. But we've been in 2 schools so far. I've been at Arnold Middle and I've been at Calvary. And the conversations that we've had with these students has been unbelievable. And after we've had the trainings we call them trainings, everything that we talk about is around dating violence, and it's always age appropriate, of course. But the teachers and faculty always come back to me and they're like, we had no idea that so many of our students were being affected by this. Because this is the stuff that when they're being brought up in it at home and they're seeing mom and dad fight all the time, and there's body injuries and words of just hate and meanness that goes on. Those kids are bringing that stuff into school every single day. It affects their ability to focus and do their schoolwork. It affects their ability to read a book. It affects their ability to even attend and have good attendance in school. And that's the thing that I can't understand why the higher ups in the school system can't see that if they don't have it. I'm sorry. No, they will just do it in a roundabout way to say, oh, I've got to talk to so-and-so and so-and-so, and we'll get back to you. And then I don't hear anything. But I'm on my 4th year of service now with Hope Harbor. And just this very year is the first time I've gotten into both of those schools. And I am ready to just hit the ground running. I just met a guy that is over, he's the fire chief for Fort Mitchell. He is a teacher at Russell County High School. And I sent him all the letters that I got from the teachers that let me come in and do my training, letters of recommendation for us to come in the schools and have these conversations. I sent him facts and statistics and things, and I'm praying to God that he gets me in that building, because these kids have got to hear it. We've got to talk about it, and we need to make it okay for them to have these conversations with adults and feel like they can be heard, and to stop this stuff that's going on with kids, because it's just it's awful. And and talk about the women. It's as much women, if not more women these days, that's abusing the males than it is anything. I mean, just unbelievable stories that we've been hearing from students. So, yes, I'm trying desperately to get in every school I can and just have a conversation. And again, age appropriate. I'm not looking to upset anybody. I just want these kids to know that we're here, that we're a support, we're a lifeline, and they don't have to go it alone.
I'm so happy that you're doing that. And I do know in my own experience, often we just don't want to talk about these things because they are emotional, they're ugly, it's dark, and we'd rather just I don't want to go there.
It's so much easier to
think
sweep it under
about
the rug,
it,
yeah.
right? But we do need to talk about it. And then whenever we bring it up, look at all of these stories, look at everyone sharing. It's amazing.
I love it.
It's amazing.
I love it. I mean,
To
as
have a
ugly and
place.
dark as it is, and I'm thank y'all. I mean, again,
Yeah. Well, we thank you.
When someone reaches out to me and says they want me to speak, it's like I've been given a check for $1 million, because I'm like, I can't buy my way into places, So
Right.
to be able to just be in the room and have these conversations, thank y'all for listening. Thank you for the opportunity. I pray for everyone that is going through something or has gone through something. Because it's hard, it's difficult, it's ugly, and I'm sorry for what you've been through, but there's hope, and Hope Harbor is part of that, and we want to be here for you.
Tell us how we can help you as a
Okay.
church or as individuals.
Can I answer that question after she? Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to comment briefly on a couple of things that have been said. I was touched by this young lady's remark about telling her pastor about her husband, and she was not believed. That can be any one of us. There are, and I've been aware personally of situations where the abuser is someone who is well respected,
Yes.
looked up to. Just because that might be the case, when someone comes to us and confides in us, as difficult as that is, we need to pay attention. We need
Absolutely.
not to automatically say, oh, that can't be possible,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be.
Right.
And the
Absolutely.
other situation, Sister Gretel mentioned that it's not just staying with someone because they need a father and the influences that that father can affect. My sister was murdered as a result of domestic violence.
I am so sorry for your loss.
But it was not the abuser that killed her. It was one of their sons that killed both of them and then killed himself.
I'm so sorry.
So staying with someone to try to keep a family together is not a reason.
Yeah. I could not agree with you more. I mean, truly. Sometimes the best thing that you can do for your kids, especially if there's children involved, is to set the example. I'm not going to let you take advantage of me and treat me this way anymore. I'm leaving you. And it might, depending on the age of the child, they're not going to understand. And they're probably going to be mad at you. And they're probably going to say some really nasty things to you because you're tearing the family apart. But when they get older and they can look back and realize that mom or dad left because they respected themselves and they respected their kids enough to leave and get out of the situation, that is far more, that is the greatest lesson that you could ever teach them, is how you let someone treat you. And honey, thank you for telling your story. I'm so sorry for your loss. I cannot imagine. Domestic violence is just a hideous, hideous thing. But thank you.
I wanted to just ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for everybody that has shared, because this is so important to have these discussions. We see that this is real in the church and outside of the church. And so one of my questions this afternoon is, how can we help the young people? How can we help those who are not yet married to recognize those signs? And I like how you said it, Monica, healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships,
Yes.
recognizing those signs early. How
Yeah.
can we help a young person that's like, I think I'm in love, how can we, as a church, provide some things? Because like it was said here, there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof is the way of death. So we don't want to do what just seems right, but we want to do what is right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can even read this card to you. It's unbelievable. The students, for instance, at the schools we were going to, would read these cards and they would literally be there with their girlfriends or their guy friends, and they're doing this to each other going, oh my God, you're going through this right now. Like, this is an unhealthy relationship, and they don't even realize it. Yeah. It's just having the conversation and providing them with information for them to have their, be enlightened enough to know that they themselves are in an unhealthy relationship. So the first one's intensity. It says, when a person expresses very extreme feelings and over-the-top behavior that can feel overwhelming. Possessiveness, when a person is jealous to the point where they try to control you and who you spend time with or what you do. Manipulation, when a person tries to control your decisions, actions, or emotions. Isolation, again, all power and control stuff, right? When the person keeps you away from friends, family, or other people. Sabotage, when a person purposely ruins your reputation, achievements, or success. Belittling, when a person does and says things to make you feel bad about yourself. Guilting, when a person makes you feel responsible for their actions or makes you feel like it's your job to keep them happy. Volatility, when a person has a strong, unpredictable reaction that makes you feel scared, confused, or intimidated. Deflecting responsibility, when a person repeatedly makes excuses for their own unhealthy behavior or refuses to take responsibility for their impact on others. And the final one is betrayal. I wish this young lady was still here. When a person is disloyal or acts in an intentionally dishonest way. That is abuse. That is an unhealthy relationship. So thank you for bringing that up.
When you brought up the issue about the kids, the schools.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, let's talk about it.
Okay. I was very young when my abuse started. From a little bitty girl, almost all the way through high school. And I think had someone paid attention to me in school, I think someone could have just seen my face. Just seen my face. Because there were no bruises.
Yeah. I completely agree.
And by the time I got out of high school, when I graduated, I took off running. I've got a hanky, thank you.
Okay, you do? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. But I took off running.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what the word goal meant. GOAL. I didn't understand what that meant. All my friends had dreams and goals, and they were going to college, and they were going to have this wonderful life, and a lot of them did. No. I had a dream that I dreamed one time that I told myself, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get married. I wanted a child. I wanted a house and a pool. I got married. I had a child. I had a house. Too many houses. I decided not against the pool. No, I don't want the pool. It's too much work because I'm going to have to do it. But I never had a goal. I didn't know what a goal was until I was 40.
Mm-hmm.
And I think had someone paid close enough attention to me in school, I might have had a different path. However, I'm going to say this. There was a reason I walked that path. There was a reason. I lost my first child, not physically to a grave, but apart from me, because of my first marriage, being married to a narcissist. I thought he loved me. He paid so much attention to me when nobody else did, not even my own family. I didn't see it. All I saw was, oh, he loves me. He loves me. He controlled me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a narcissist was until I was in my late 30s. My child's 40. But there is a God. This isn't him. This is what God answered a prayer to.
That's wonderful. Well, yes. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We have a now 21-year-old firecracker baby. I was 45, and he was born on the 4th of July.
Awesome. I love it.
And I found myself telling him last week, honey, I'm sorry for the way things were when you were growing up because of what I went through as a child and then an adult. I didn't have anything but anxiety to live with. Pure anxiety. That's all it was. I was scared all the time. Not of him.
I know what you're saying.
Of life. I was not an abuser. I did everything different from what was done to me. I couldn't have loved both of my boys more than I did and do now. But if somebody in my school, I'm 65.
You look amazing.
You're sweet.
I don't know what water y'all drinking in this building, but okay, good. I'm going to leave with 3 bottles before I leave. Well, I am.
I just think
I'm sorry.
the school system.
I agree.
The school system.
I agree. I think of that too, especially in high school, because you're so impressionable, and you think you know things, and you really don't. And I see these teenage girls now that walk around and they don't look their age anymore. Like I look at girls in school when I was in school, and we didn't have makeup on, and our hair wasn't done, and we were in sloppy clothes. And the girls these days are full glamour and all the things. And I just, yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason I want to be in the schools, is because if we can change the trajectory of one child's life,
Yes.
to help them make better decisions and understand what they're going through, that they're not alone, and that there's help. I mean,
Right.
it's worth it.
Right.
So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your support.
I just want to say that maybe a suggestion. I don't know. I mean, this seems so important. Our son is he's in college now, but maybe start at the top. Go with the superintendent in Muskogee County. Start at the top and see if you can get into those schools and help those kids that desperately
agree.
need it.
I think too, another step, and you can tell me if you think this is the right way, but looking at maybe getting at a school board meeting and being in front
Yes.
of all the different school board
Absolutely.
across, and
Absolutely.
telling our story and explaining how,
Right.
how serious it is.
Right.
Because I honestly don't believe that even the principals and the superintendents know the severity.
Yeah.
That Muskogee County is literally the
Yeah.
highest rated county in the entire state of Georgia.
Yeah,
for
they need to
10
be
dating
made
violence.
aware. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really excited that you are, wanting and willing to educate young people, because as parents, we cannot be with our kids everywhere. We cannot control every relationship that they have, and even, when they are young adults, when they're in college. So I'm a big believer in proactive learning.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to wait until my kids get in those situations. They need to start from little thing that, okay, when you start seeing that your friends are saying this, that, and the other, maybe they're probably not your friends. You need to watch for this kind of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that, yeah, I even told my son right now, I was like, I'm going to recommend you to the principal of their school, because they're a small school, just like our church, and they're another Adventist church, but they are very, forward thinking on, wanting to educate the kids and keep them in awareness, of things. So, I think that is the best thing we can do, is teach our kids these things.
100%.
Let them be aware of them. Don't keep them hidden from things,
Right.
because they will encounter it.
Mhm.
And the best thing what you would want as a parent, if you love your children, that when they do encounter it, they have the wisdom and discernment to handle it.
Yes.
Not trying to figure out what to do, or maybe this
Yes.
is normal. They have all these questions
Yes,
in their
honey.
mind. And
Come
it's not
with me.
and it's not only
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
it's not
100%.
only the romantic relationships that we have to worry about it. You see it in the quote unquote friendships, even between same
Yes.
gender children.
Yep.
All the tactics of manipulation and psychological warfare that little kids,
Yes.
elementary school kids, are doing on each other, psychological warfare.
The bottom
So,
line is our children are our future.
yes.
And if we can help them and give them the tools and resources to be healthy minded and to have healthy relationships and to treat people with kindness and dignity and love and respect, we will change the world.
Amen.
When we turn on our televisions at night, we won't be hearing the latest homicide story. We're going to be hearing about what amazing nonprofit got, a check for whatever, or, sorry, I'm getting on my soapbox.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I want to be in the schools for that very reason, because they are our future, and they need to know that they're loved and that they're valued and that they're appreciated, and that whatever they've been through in their brief years of life so far does not have to define them, and they can have a good, healthy marriage and not have to worry about if they're going to get hit or, have financial abuse or be sexually abused. I mean, yes.
And I think one of my, in my personal experience too, I have learned that young people, you guys need to be listening, that if you are in any friendship or relationship that is causing you to feel like you don't even want to exist anymore, You feel like you as a person, that you hate yourself, you don't even want to be around anymore, you feel some kind of way about yourself, and that is connected to a friendship or a relationship, you have probably already have been in that relationship way too long.
Yep.
And that is a big sign that you need to cut the contact
Yep.
with that person,
100%.
because no one should be in your life that is taking life, vital life out of you, literally. Where you feel like you don't even want to get out of bed the next morning because of what that person is doing and saying to you or whatever it is.
And it's such a young age.
Yes.
That should be the last thing
Yes.
you're thinking about.
And our kids are experiencing these things.
Yes, 100% they are. Y'all, this is amazing.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to like invite you next time because we have a group of teens and kids. We call it Adventurers Club and Pathfinders Club.
Okay.
And we meet with them every second and fourth Sabbath. Sunday.
Okay.
And I think it would be nice to invite the other church so we can like teach the kids, as Sister Miriam and Raven were saying, like signals of those kind of toxic relationships, so when they can like be aware of their surroundings.
100%.
So they will be like very picky, aware of the friends that they are like being around too. So
Absolutely.
we'll
I
be
would
in
love to
touch.
come.
So
Yes,
and
please,
I
let me know.
think that this is a very important topic that we should, with women's ministry and other departments in church, we should be more like inviting to touch, because it's very into our community and in our churches. We are not ajenos, ¿cómo se dice? Like we are part of that thing too. It's happened, and it's happening sometimes in our churches, and we don't even realize that
Yes.
it's so real in our churches too.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
thank you so much for coming.
Oh, honey, thank you so much. Thank y'all so much. Like, I seriously. Thank you. I am not in any hurry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a microphone, honey. I just was going to say, I'm not in any hurry. You guys take as much of my time as you need. If you, whatever y'all need, you just let me know. I'm here.
I just wanted to say I really appreciate all of you guys' testimonies, and this was very important. And your program at the Hope Harbor, yes. And you know, I think it's so important because some of us don't get these fundamentals growing up in our homes, so we don't really know all the time how we should be treated. We don't value ourselves sometimes, unfortunately, like we should. And self-esteem, you know, our self-esteem might be low, getting into relationships. And, you know, we go to school for 4 years, for 8 years to learn curriculums, but we don't really learn how relationships should go, you know. And I kind of just wish there was something where we actually had classes where we would know, you know, the red flags to look for when we actually enter relationships, so that we wouldn't get that far into relationships where we now have to intervene in the middle or at the end, or when people get hurt, you know, you would know the things to look for before that.
Absolutely.
So I just kind of just wish we kind of had those promotive classes before we got into kind of just like what Raven and everyone else was
Yeah,
saying
absolutely,
before
I
these
agree.
things happen.
I mean, kids, they learn about relationships through the example that they're being shown, period, because we don't talk about it. And so I could not agree with you more.
And just what Sister Raven said, you know, with our children, I have a 16-year-old daughter. And one of the things that the Lord impressed upon my heart before my husband and I, before she goes to college, for her to learn about relationship. And we were so blessed that we have someone locally sitting with her, teaching about relationship and the signs of things that you need to look for, you know, in a young man, and, you know, what are controlling relationship. It's such a blessing, and we have in this platform conversation here. And it's relationship also starts in the home with the children communicating with siblings. The way a young man would treat a sister, if the heart doesn't change, he can grow up to be that same man, the same way he treats his little sister. He can possibly be the same person how you would treat his wife. So it's so critical for us as parents for model healthy training around siblings.
Yes.
It starts, that's the beginning stage.
I
The
agree.
relationship, how they relate to each other, how they treat each other, how they communicate with each other.
Right.
It is so critical
Absolutely.
for that to be mimicked in the home.
Right. And what you're willing to accept and not accept.
Exactly.
And those examples that you're setting.
Exactly. And also, my struggle as an adult with relationship with females, friends, it's a struggle.
Same.
It's a struggle, and it's real. You have friendship that are not real. You have friendship that manipulate adults, same sex, control. We need to focus on that as well, and those friendships need to be cut clean because it needs to be healthy. Because a lot of people we all have issues, correct? But the way you have friendship, that's my struggle. It's like they would drain everything out of you, and you're dead. You don't even want to wake up to see their face. Yeah. Yes, relationship with female, and these things are real, and we look at it like maybe a man and a woman. No, your friendship as well.
Absolutely.
It's dangerous.
It is.
So we need to focus on that as well, and adults who are here as well, recognize, are you a real friend? Are you true to your sister? Come on, are you really real? That's my struggle as an adult.
Same.
It's a real struggle. And I pray God daily, like I want to be the Christian person God has created me to be, but it's a fight. Because you just want to, because of the things that you've been seeing in the pattern.
Right.
That is my struggle.
I'm proud of you. Yeah, I mean, it's times are hard with friendships. It's hard to find people that you can really depend on and respect you the way that you should be. I agree. Leslie, so to get to your question, the way that help can be brought to us is we have, as I said before, we've got a 43-bed shelter. We stay full. Even though our shelter is full, though, we can still help victims that need a place to stay. We get them hotel stays in private places that are undisclosed again and are free from the violence that they've been subjected to. But when a victim comes to us, they often come in the middle of the night, or they're being forced to leave because their abuser has gone to prison or something. So we are like, they'll have only basically the clothes on their back when they come through to the shelter. So when victims enter the shelter, they are given a fresh pillow, a brand new pillow, brand new blankets, brand new sheets, full-size toiletries for everything that you can imagine, mouthwash, toothpaste, everything. Literally, if it is something that you consume on a daily basis, those are the items that we bring in on donations. And every victim gets a brand new of everything, and they take that with them when they leave our shelter. We're feeding them, we're clothing them if they need clothes, if they weren't able to pack anything. They're able to shop for their clothes that they need. If they have medications special that they need for them or their children, we get them the medications that they need, all completely on Hope Harbor's dime. If the victim does not need shelter, but they need to have their home made safer, so that means changing door locks or replacing drywall where he or she has damaged walls or broken windows. Those are all things that we do at Hope Harbor. Is we will get that house ready for them to be safely to stay. So literally, if it's something that we consume on a daily basis, hand sanitizer and cleaning wipes and paper towels and toilet paper and garbage bags and formula and diapers and hair shampoo and conditioner. I mean, those are things that we use every single day at our shelter. And so those are the items that we request on donation. We accept gently used clothing for our ladies and men to be able to shop for themselves if they need a business suit or a dress or something to wear. They are given access to our storage facility that has all of those items for them. So we take that kind of stuff. We even do housewares where we accept donations like plates and dishes and pots and pans, and even something as simple as a photo frame that they can go and shop for, so that when they've relocated out of our shelter into rapid rehousing, that they can get the items that they need that would be essentials. You know, they're things to get them going. We have different initiatives that different civic organizations and businesses will do. So for instance, Valentine's Day, they'll do cute little Valentine's cards for the kids and the moms. Mother's Day, they'll do pretty baskets with, you know, maybe a cute little notebook and a pen and maybe some hand lotion and a candle for the moms. So it's just things that you feel led and how you want to give back is what a lot of the organizations do to kind of give back. Every Tuesday, we're at Rose Hill Baptist Church off of Hamilton Road. We're there at 8:30 every Tuesday in the morning, and again at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, accepting donations that people bring to us. The community, I was saying earlier, I think Leslie, I was talking with you about it. It takes a village. I mean, it's $100,000 a month to keep our doors open and to keep our victims fed and clothed and housed, to get them everything that they need. And we're able to do it because of the support of the community. I mean, talks like this where I'm coming in and I'm sharing with you what's going on and what we have a need for. I'll post on social media, you know, what we need, and the community shows up all the time. We're so blessed that we have people that see the value in what we do. Monetarily, I am so ecstatic about this statistic. 90 cents of every dollar that we receive in donations stays right in our shelter. 90 cents. That's unheard of for nonprofit organizations. So we use our funds the way that they're intended to, the way that you would want it to be used if it was a check that you stroked out of your paycheck. So we take our donations monetarily very, very seriously and make sure that we are good stewards of your money when it comes through our doors. Y'all, this has been one of the greatest days of my life, and I don't say that lightly. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for the love that you have in your heart for the victims that are going through this. For those of you that have been through it or are going through it now, I'm sorry. We're here. I will hug you. Whatever I can do to help you get the comfort and the love for you. I just thank y'all so much for having me.
And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say, I know that you said that you don't have a particular faith that you follow, but I just want to let you know that, you know, you don't always have to have a particular denomination that you follow. That doesn't make you in the wrong in any way, shape, or form. But you are doing the work of Christ that he has called us to do, is to clothe the naked and to feed the poor and to go and help those who are oppressed. And I just wanted to encourage you in that way. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I truly believe that I was put through everything in my life that I've been through so that I can stand up here and have these conversations, because they're not easy. And I'm just glad I don't do the work at the shelter, because I don't know how I tell those ladies all the time, I'm like, you ladies are unicorns. Like, the fact that you can come here and be as strong as you are for our victims, and our victims come out on the other end as better people and don't return to their abuse. I commend them so much. So thank you for saying that, because it is my greatest honor that I get to wake up every day and work for Hope Harbour. We do, yes ma'am. We're a part of that vigil. We partner with the task force, Domestic Violence Roundtable. Yeah, we'd love to have you come and do that. Y'all, thank you so much. This is just